A woman by the name of Jasmine Clisby. Let me read this to you. You can lose your lease a lot of ways if you fall behind on payments, abuse the property, or follow conservative media. Like most people, Chris Hodges probably didn't think a quick tap of support for posts on Donald Trump or China's role in the coronavirus would amount to much of anything. Turns out he was wrong. A local English teacher decided to catalog Hodges' likes and share them with the press. Little did anyone know it would be the beginning of the end of the church's services at 2 local high schools. I do not attend Church of the Highlands, teacher Jasmine Clisby said openly, and she insisted, I can't see into Pastor Chris Hodges' heart. Now listen to this language, because we hear this in the church all the time. This is what I've been getting. There are people doing entire videos, and this is the same Christian cancel culture language, okay? I can't see into Pastor Chris Hodges' heart, but his support for what she considered, quote, culturally insensitive views, end quote, is, quote, troubling, end quote. I would be upset if it comes off as me judging him, she said without a hint of irony. I'm not saying he's a racist, but thanks to her smear campaign, the Birmingham Board of Education is. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So here is a pastor, likes tweets, someone trolls him, puts this out into the media, makes sure the Board of Education sees it, and what do they have to do? Well, of course, we can't let people who have, what is it here? Culturally insensitive views use our facilities. And we get to make that decision. So your lease is canceled. You can't meet here anymore. Totalitarianism. Bow the knee. Follow the narrative. Do what we tell you to do. You cannot have any other views. And that's certainly what Sharon McCutcheon would tell you as well. There's this picture of 3 white ladies. Well, one of them sort of doesn't look all that white, but 3 white ladies and a stunningly white baby, as in albino, blonde-haired baby. The article is titled, Yes, My Dear, All White People Are Racists. First, learn what racism is. Oh, I'm sorry. That's when I said Sharon McCutcheon, that was the photo by. This is Marley Kay. I'm sorry. First, learn what racism is and what it's not. Well, of course, there's the issue. We know what racism used to be. We know the only meaningful definition of racism. And that's the one meaning of racism that's no longer valid. As this article demonstrates. I need white people to understand that all white people are racist. Admit it, and let's move on to the business of repairing and healing the country. We can't do it without you. Yes, my dears, all white people are racist. All of them. Here is where you stop to cry, clutch your pearls, rant and rave aloud to tell me how wrong I am, and tell me not all white people. I'm doing reverse racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. By the way, I just stopped right there. I can't tell you now how many black Christians, who claim to be Christians anyway, now tell me, no, I can't be a racist. It's a sin for you, but it's not a sin for me, because I can't be, because I've now decided to redefine racism in power structures. The Bible never does that. The Bible can't do that. That's not its worldview, but I've done it, and so you can be guilty of the sin of racism. I can't be. There you go. So there's no such thing as reverse racism. And you're ready to do tit for tat with me and every black person on the internet because you're too afraid to say it's nonsense in person on how terrible black people are. I have fill in the blank white person savior activity here, so I know I'm not racist. I don't say the N-word. I go to church with black people. I even go to lunch with the black lady guy from my job. I have a biracial child. I date black women or men. My husband and wife is black. I work in an all-black fill-in-blank setting. I am not a racist. I'm liberal. I voted for Hillary. I use Black Lives Matter hashtags. I have a black friend that I never talk to about race. I know. I've heard it all already, honey. I know you are a product of your racist American environment. You are racist, love, but it's okay to admit it. I'm ready for you to admit it so that you can move on to bigger things. Your denying the obvious stalls the long road to healing. Take a moment to sit with this new old revelation. Your racism is a product of nurturing and nature. Own it. You can't help you were born to racist parents who are raised in a white supremacist system. You can help with tearing down the racist systems and structures that support you and kill me and my sons. See the narrative? Based on flawed science crafted by flawed white and European people. White people admitting they are racist is necessary for those individuals desiring to do something right now. If you can't do that, I can't rock with you, I can't walk with you, I can't talk with you, I can't help you, and I darn sure can't trust you. See? There is no reasoning with this. This is the statement that says, you will accept what I say, you will accept that you are what you are, there will be no discussion, there is no rational discussion to be had, this is where we have to start. This is the narrative. And this narrative is coming into the church. This narrative is in the church. This narrative is in the seminaries. At least Marley Kay is being just straight up front about it and saying, honey. But this is racism in its core. This is real racism. This is sinful racism. This is false witness against someone else based upon no factuality at all, and you will not even bring a witness. This is sinful as sinful can be. But it's the narrative. It's the narrative now. You know, all the stuff about white fragility and all the rest. There's no reasoning with these people. They're not using reason. Critical theory does not require reason. In fact, it breaks reason down. That's its function. That's its function. That's where we are. That's where we are. And I've got a lot of people contacting me, go, what? Okay, now what can we read? What you know? And right now, I've just been directing people to the pre-conference we did at G3 in 2019. And I've been pointing them to the interviews that Mike O'Fallon did on the, there's a whole playlist at Sovereign Nations where you can, again, get a running start at it anyways. But we're definitely behind the 8 ball, and there aren't a lot of publishers that could touch this one with a 10-foot pole right now. There really aren't. That's the cultural moment that we face. Thankfully, despite the fact that the educational system is completely soaked in this, and that means you've been sending Bobby off to the public schools, Bobby's getting this every single day. Thankfully, none of this actually makes sense in the long run. So it's a violation of the image of God, and therefore it will eventually break down. The damage it'll do in the process is huge, but it eventually has to break down of its own weight. Because it can't, again, critical theory can't build anything, it can only destroy things. Seattle might be a good picture of what this is going to end up looking like. And maybe some, you know, who knows, maybe Portland will be next. And there must be something in the air in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know, but it's weird. We have the answer.